this pipe. Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 313 for March 27th, 2019. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host. And if it looks like I'm under the weather, I am. If I'm acting like I've had too many histamines or antihistamines or antihistamines or whatever they are, I have.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So, yeah, that's my apologies in advance if I'm somewhat incoherent, but luckily for you, I have four very coherent, very non-drug affected people to carry the show in my mental absence. Let's introduce them and get this bad boy rolling. My co-host, the most reflective panelist ever in the history of podcasts, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
That is me. Yes, thank you. Episode 313. Now, everybody from the 313, put your hands up and follow me. Come on, everybody knows this.
I don't know that song. What song is that?
Oh, that was Eminem B Rabbit in
Really?
8 Mile at the very end when they're having the throwdown thing, and he starts with the 313. Everybody from 313,
I
and
had no idea.
turns to his opponent and says, "Not you." But okay.
I feel very uncool and old right now.
Wow, we covered this in the Tesla Life. You shouldn't have to explain the joke.
We did not cover this.
Not this, the having to explain things.
Oh,
Anyway, shout out to Lee Moon, Gold Star, first person in the chat tonight.
That was an interesting movie.
yeah. Well, let's see. The person who obviously saw the movie, our man in South Carolina, it's North Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yes.
I get my Carolinas constantly reversed. It's horrible. South Carolina, Mr. Casey Green.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, Casey. How's it going this week?
It's going pretty well. I made a couple videos.
I heard you got put in autopilot timeout.
Yeah, autopilot jail.
Yeah, you were a very bad boy.
I was.
Well, maybe we'll hear a little more about that later. Our friend in Canada, where I understand it was absolutely tropical today. You wouldn't know it because I'm dressed like him. I wouldn't say he's dressed like me because he always has a sweatshirt on. This is the first time for me. So, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Legal disclaimer. Russell cannot be held responsible for anything he says on the show today in episode 313.
Expect some totally crazy shit. Now,
so he's going to use that to his advantage, I think.
We don't know what's going to happen, but he is not legally responsible for what he says.
I'm crazy. Okay.
And Coughlin called us thin blood. He's the one always wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's up in Canada. You know, it's like you're in an igloo, right?
Well, today is it got up to 11 degrees, and that's convertible weather here in southern Ontario. So
11
I saw 3 convertibles out on the road. And
11 Canadian or 11 American?
11 Canadian. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not so bad.
That's like 54.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
There we go. Well, last and certainly not least, the founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado. You can find him at boulderh.com or boulderhc.com. Just depends on what kind of mood you're in. Mr. Paul Guzik.
Glad to be back, and we had a wonderful summery day here, over 70 degrees. And to celebrate, I'm going to Japan dance off my beer.
Dance off.
I don't get where these names come from. But
Japan's off.
Japan. What do I have to do?
it says dance off with Japan's off.
What do I have to do to get Japan's off? I've used that line many
That's what it
times.
is, yes. Okay, see here it says, can you read it there?
Dance off
with Japan's off.
With Japan's off.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. It's brewed with sake yeast, whatever the hell that is.
Oh, hence the Japan connection. Otherwise, just a clever name. Well, we do have some stories to talk about, so why not get started? I want to start the evening off with a video I saw on YouTube that I found through Twitter. And
Russian dash cams?
It's this. This is the center console of a Tesla Model 3. And the young lady who owns that car, you can almost see it in the corner, had a little suction cup device on the center console, had it on there for a couple of days and took it off, and voila. What the heck is going on there? Well, as it turns out,
peeled off the cellophane? Or
well,
shrink wrap.
It is a dull colored plastic that is vinyl wrapped to give it the shiny piano black look. Which I blame none of this on her. I thought there was a lot of people in the comments that were like, what kind of idiot does that? I'm like, dude, I use suction cup devices all the time. I'm not an idiot for that. I don't think anybody would expect that to be a vinyl wrapped piece of plastic. You'd see a shiny black piece of plastic and you would expect it to be shiny black plastic. Right. So yeah, I was irritated by the people who were criticizing her. And I don't know. I guess on one level, I also want to call into question Tesla's kind of questionable product decision here, unwrapping this thing in a vinyl wrap. Now, the good news is she can probably get it repaired fairly easily, right? Take the console thing out.
Wrapped in a hair dryer.
Well, there's that, right? She could do it herself. But I mean, take it to a vinyl wrap place and they'll probably wrap it in a new piece of shiny black plastic and it'll be good. But I mean, this is
more designed for an interior piece that people are going to stick stuff onto.
Yeah, I would agree.
It was interesting that the vast majority of people had no idea that was shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it. And of course, Tesla was called into question about this piece a long time ago because it would easily scratch if you were to push on it with your nail or inadvertently rub your arm against it or a sleeve. You could scratch it very easily. This piano black finish was something that many people decided to wrap themselves in another piece of vinyl to protect it.
He could have vinyl wrapped the vinyl
exactly, and I've done it in my car.
You have not.
I have. I thought it was piano black finish. I didn't think it was a wrap. So my wrap is wrapped in another piece of vinyl to protect it.
So wearing two condoms,
I can imagine that taking it off is probably going to rip the other vinyl anyways.
Yeah.
But I and many people were shocked that that was an actual wrap and not hard plastic.
Wow.
Yeah. I just want to go ahead and do this here so everyone can remember. In case you forget, it's a wrap.
Nice.
So a lot of the members of our owners group here have theirs wrapped, and I've had a chance to use a bunch of these console covers, and try not to get trapped by any playbacks of how I would say that. But they feel like they piano black dashboard on the other models, but they are obviously not as durable because I had the exact same suction cup on my Model S dashboard for a year through the heat, the cold, and South Carolina doesn't get particularly it's an aggressive heat in the summertime. And it held up just fine.
So I'm sorry, educate me and I will admit my ignorance here. This is a regular. If it's piano black plastic in a Tesla, it is probably vinyl wrapped.
Or at least it is on the Model 3. The Model S didn't seem to have a problem with the suction cup.
Okay.
So, and I want to dig into this because creating a shiny piece of plastic is a piece of plastic that's shiny. But creating a piece of plastic and vinyl wrapping it, I'm just thinking of the manufacturing complexity of doing that.
I'm wondering,
it's more shinier that way.
Yeah, that too. But what I'm wondering is if perhaps the one in the Model S and X was regular car paint, basically, and then they clear coated it, and then in this one was more like like this Coke Zero can, where they just kind of wrap it and cut it all the way through the through the process. I mean, this is a thin film wrap. It's not paint.
Right. Yeah. Well, there it is. If you have a Model 3 and you like your shiny console, be careful.
Do not put a suction cup on it.
Right.
Do not.
Don't scratch it. Don't scrub it with things. You know, just
don't even look at it wrong.
Yeah. Next story. I'm going to turn the microphone somewhat regrettably over to Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Wow. What an intro.
Somewhat is an understatement. I'm pretty sure.
I'm really, really reticent to do this, but I have to. So,
So
go, Tony. Go, Tony.
Yes. So I know that we have for years, a couple of years now, we have really ripped on Faraday Future, and we've said that they would never make a major sale. They're never going to go anywhere. It turns out that Faraday Future did finally make a major sale. It was themselves. So Faraday Future, who we said, you know, from the beginning, they're going nowhere. This, you know, the FF91, FF81 was never going to happen. Well, it turns out they've put up the for sale sign. They've long since abandoned their Las Vegas site. And they actually partnered now. See, so there might be a silver lining. I like to look for the silver linings. But it turns out that there is a company called The 9 Limited. And The 9 is one word, THE, the number 9, and then Limited. And this is actually a gaming industry company. They've purchased or partnered with Faraday Future, and they plan on releasing the FF91 in China, but they're going to call it V9. So who knows? There might actually be, you know, V9s, basically Faraday Future FF91s. But and yeah, I mean, I hate to say we called it a long time ago. Faraday Future is not going to be a company much longer. But I'm going to reiterate what we've said from the very beginning. There were a lot of very smart, intelligent, hardworking, very clever people working at Faraday Future who were able to put together a functioning car in a relatively short amount of time. So we're not trashing the people who work there. We just knew this wasn't a viable model, except for the owner.
With one exception.
All right.
If you ever hire anyone in their marketing department, you are a complete and total idiot.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good point.
They're engineers.
Yes. And the reason I bring that up is while we were bashing Faraday Future, we got a comment on the video in our YouTube channel that was like, my brother works for Faraday Future, and you know, he's a hard worker and he's really intelligent. We're like, okay, we're not attacking the people. We are never attacking the people. We just knew from the very beginning that Faraday Future was smoke and mirrors and was never going to actually produce
never
vehicles.
going to have a future.
Exactly.
Yeah, mainly because they never, it was never a serious thing. That's the problem. And again, thanks to the marketing department for putting through the wrong image constantly. You know, it's coming, it's here, it's going to go great, it's going to go 7,000 miles an hour, it's going to have, you know, I mean,
8,000 mile range.
But it can't even park.
Yeah. I mean, it had some great, I mean, I hate to say, I almost hate to say it, but I mean, I'd love to say it, but the demo, assuming that this was actually a fully functioning car, but the fact that they could put it out into a parking lot and tell it to park itself, and it drove around until it found a spot and then parked itself, that was pretty cool. You know,
it couldn't park on stage.
Right. See, then there was stuff like that. You know, there was
had a really tiny man inside driving.
Quite possibly, we speculated that. You know, it was actually
the remote control. You know,
right. It was actually So I mean, that was it, and possibly this will be the last ever Faraday Future story that we ever cover. Who knows? They might pop back up in a year or so.
Never say never with these people.
Right.
Yeah. I just thought it could have used more than 4 seats for the size of that vehicle.
Oh my god, it's a beast! The car's massive.
There's bigger than my Model in the back.
But Casey, you can only fit 4 full-size recliners in one car.
Yeah, that's true.
Those zero gravity seats.
I mean, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, speaking of zero gravity, here's a company that's kind of been in free fall for a while. And again, forgive me, I'm sick and I'm going to talk about stuff that I like. Motorcycles. Maybe one of the, well, I don't know, one of the most recognized names globally, Harley Davidson, has talked for a few years about electrifying and the future of Harley and what the Harley's going to do. And they've shown some concepts. They had a live wire, and they've now announced that their live wire electric motorcycle will be coming out in August of this year. It has between 88 and 140 miles of range. It goes 0 to 60 in like 3.1 seconds, 3 seconds. And it costs a mere $29,799 base price. This is why Harley's going out of business very, very soon. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
There's it's a nice looking bike, but you know what, Tony, can you scroll down a little bit and show the person on the motorcycle?
That one is, there's another one.
Yeah. So look at the way this person, there's a little bit further.
Okay.
To advanced riding technology system. I just want to make a point here. Now, everybody knows somebody who owns a Harley, and it's by no means, thank you, that one right there.
Yeah.
It's by no means a monolithic group. You know what I mean? It's not, but let's be clear. The average Harley owner is an older white guy. And by older, I mean older than me. And folks, you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying something. I had an interesting conversation with a Harley dealer here in San Diego a few months ago, and he said something that I thought was revelatory in a way. He said that the biggest challenge that he faces as a dealer and that Harley faces is that all of their customers have already bought their last motorcycle.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sounds like Buick and Lincoln.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I can't help but agree with him. Harley has done an amazing job of working that group, of working that culture and reinforcing that and building that. That Harley owners group is really an amazing, efficient machine. But that said, it's never really reached out to anybody other than that really old guy who, you know, has ridden Harley all his life. And he always has one in the garage, and he puts on his $500 chaps and his $700 jacket, and he goes out for an afternoon and rides a few miles. Mm-hmm. Now, you notice the one thing that I haven't talked about is range anxiety. Mm-hmm. There's no way that current Harley owners are going to want this bike. It's not their riding position. It's not their style. It's not loud pipes save lives. There's nothing that's Harley about this. So the idea that Harley's going to start over from scratch with a $30K motorcycle. Wow. I mean, ballsy. I'll give them that. It is hugely aggressive, but maybe not the smartest thing in the world.
Maybe this is their Matthew McConaughey. Trying to bring back the brand, make it younger.
Yeah, but is that really helping Lincoln? Like,
I didn't say it did.
Yeah, I mean,
like, how many people do you know that have got out and bought a Lincoln? Right, like
only people who are already doing it.
Well, and let's look. You know, there's been a few articles this week that I've read. In fact, we've talked about younger people not adopting cars as quickly, and that is actually not quite as true as we'd like it to be. But I don't see a lot of younger people going, oh my God, $30,000 for this motorcycle. How can I not want it? If you wanted an electric motorcycle, you could go buy a Zero starting at like 16 grand, and they're amazing bikes. And it's not, I'm sorry.
That's for the new ones. If you get like last year's stock or a used one, it's even cheaper.
Yeah, not much cheaper, but
not much, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're expensive bikes, but
but millennials ain't going to buy a $30,000 motorbike when they're not even buying $30,000 cars.
Yeah, they're not going to buy $30,000 anything.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I'm not sure who Harley's making this for. I think it really just smacks of desperation. And if they had made a cruiser style bike,
yeah,
then I could see some people going, okay, it's styled like I'm used to this, but no, it's like this. Yeah. Nobody, what? Come on.
And you know what? I have to admit that I didn't even think of that until you mentioned it. I didn't think about the seating position.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very not Harley.
So they're really trying to cross two divides at once, and that's going to be crossing one divide is tough enough, but they've lined up two in a row.
Yeah.
Well said, sir. Well said. Yeah, I don't know what they're. I honestly, it just smacks of desperation to me.
It's more European and Japanese style than the American style.
Which again, like, why wouldn't you build the bike
that works for you already?
For the image and the constituency that you have. Now, again, not that 70-year-old Harley riders are going to go out and buy an electric bike for $30,000. Probably not. And all of them are going to complain about the range, even though the range is immaterial. 90% of those old codgers ain't out riding more than 80 miles anyway. So they trailer their bike into Sturgis or whatever. Now, if you have a Harley and you ride it 300 miles in the weekend, I'm not talking about you. Okay.
Not the Iron Buds.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get
but,
that.
But even a gas Harley, what is 150 mile range on a tank? It's not huge.
That's a good question. Yeah, it can't be that much, right? Because that thing ain't
tiny
getting
tank and it drinks gas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
go ahead.
No, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And this isn't even a joke this time showing this. So yeah, this is a traditional Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
This is what you think of someone out and, you see the mountains and like they're around the Grand Canyon or whatever, and they're cruising.
Yeah. Is that from the 70s?
No, that's not.
I mean, that's a new one, but I mean, is that where the style's from?
It hasn't changed since the 50s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, getting back to, this picture, and I have to resize it to make it, larger. But I mean, yeah, you're exactly
that's
right.
a real
Russ.
comfortable way to sit for the afternoon.
Yeah. See, and I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm not a bike rider. I didn't even think of this, but yeah, the difference between these two styles is absolutely night and day.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm not seeing it.
I mean, they'll sell 4 or 5 of them.
I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, somebody will buy them and put them in the
Somebody's
garage.
Some hipster who's got the money and has a commute in California who can lane split and do the 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and hopefully not die. But
yeah, of course, for half that price, you can do it on a 0, right. And it doesn't have all that bulky fake gas tank bullshit that the Harley does and everything else. It's designed to be an electric bike. It's not an electric bike masquerading as a gas bike. But I'm beating the hell out of that.
Probably better aerodynamics too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably. Yeah, this one does definitely.
Yeah,
the other electric bikes probably have better aerodynamics.
Fake. Right. Yeah. I was going to say I don't think people buy Harleys for the aerodynamics.
No, but I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, I'm. You know what? I honestly don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's because there's so many other things going on with the bike. I'm not sure, like aerodynamically. You know what I mean? Like, you want to get down and ride low. Yeah. Right. You want to hug that gas tank and you don't want to be sitting up. So sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Our next story, a little bit of Perry Mason action from Mr. Casey Green.
Oh, indeed. So we all know that Tesla's been having some legal battles. So this one, recently their suit was thrown out. So this one was a case of some investors were saying that that they were being fraudulent with their Model 3 numbers, like with the lead up to the 5,000 with the Model 3. And the judge ruled that they kept saying, hey, this is hard. This is very hard. We might not make it. This could kill the company, blah, blah, blah. And so they had no case and threw it out, which was good for them.
Tesla dodges a legal bullet.
Yeah. They got only like 99 more to go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, right? We learned this week, Casey, that Judge Nathan is going to hear oral arguments from both Tesla and from the SEC on that contempt of court case.
Yes. Same thing. Production numbers are at the heart of this argument as well. And I'm wondering if perhaps this could be used as precedent or a consideration even in the current case that's going on. And it was interesting to me that neither side wanted to even bother go to court for the initial hearings, except for the SEC said that we don't care unless you're going to consider these where the Tesla legal team had actually used the emails that they'd exchanged back and forth. They said, if you don't use those emails, then we don't need to be bothered. But if they use the emails, we want a chance to swing at it.
So that's all coming. More entertainment.
More to go.
Yeah.
Anybody want to start a pool on what's going to happen on that one?
Somebody's going to do something and the stock will drop. And then somebody will do something else and the stock will drop. And then something unrelated will happen and the stock will rise.
Exactly.
Yep. you just summed up the entire history of Tesla.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been riding this bull since $36 a share.
There's some guy somewhere every day he flips the coin and goes, let's see, is Tesla going to go up or down?
Yeah, that's exactly how it
happen.
Yeah. And today Tesla's up $7. It's at $274.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why? What good things happened?
Nothing happened today that would make it go up like that.
Everybody decided to buy.
That's why it went up, because nothing happened.
No, because Faraday future circling the drain.
Yeah, but if you give them good news, it'll fall. You give them bad news, it falls. You fire a bunch of people, it goes up. It's like,
yep. You just got to stay in the middle and do nothing. And
it
goes up.
Yeah, it is up today, but I do want to point out 6 months. So 3 months ago it was higher. So
stretch it out some more.
Just saying.
Just out some more.
There you go.
Oh, I know. If you go max, of course. So there's year to date.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I know you said you bought it at 36, which is like down here.
Way down there.
But still, I mean, this is a hell of a roller coaster. There's a lot of antacids taking place right here in the last couple of years.
Or as some say, it's a day trader's paradise.
Yeah.
I think that the roller coaster at the factory will be modeled on this right here.
Yeah.
If they ever do the roller
coaster at the factory, you're bad.
He said it, not me.
Factory. Well, somebody who's not bad, Mr. Guzik has our next story.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat new car, in my opinion, from Lexus, and not neat because it's kind of one of these crossover mini SUV things. But the new Lexus hybrid, well, it's in a hybrid. It's also available as a regular car, but it's the UX, which I guess they're calling it the Urban X Over.
Oh God, no!
I don't know, but it's basically a compact SUV based on the same chassis as the Toyota CHR and the Corolla hatchback. So they're actually leveraging that platform. So basically, if you buy this fancy-ass Lexus hybrid UX, you're really buying a Corolla hatchback for double the price.
Yes.
But what I thought was really cool is it does use the Toyota hybrid system, and it's all-wheel drive. And this, of course, means that we'll probably see a CHR hybrid all-wheel drive and probably a Corolla hatchback all-wheel drive at some point in the not-too-distant future.
No.
And even though it's an SUV thing, it gets, well over 30 mpg. And it's a nice replacement because, unfortunately, they discontinued the CH or
200H.
200H.
200H, yeah.
CT 200H hybrid SUV.
Yeah.
Or not SUV, the hybrid hatchback, which was the lowest cost Lexus in the product line. Yeah. And it was really a gussied up Gen 3 Prius, but it was pretty cool for a Gen 3 Prius. So I think this is a pretty cool car for Lexus to offer. And price-wise, let's see, it's coming in different trim levels, but you can get it in an F Sport trim, which is the fancy ass.
Well, they're racing car version.
Yeah,
right?
But the UX 250H F Sport all-wheel drive is about 36 grand, which in the land of Lexus is a pretty good deal. And the base model hybrid all-wheel drive is not that much less, 34 grand.
Yeah.
And the gas version is 32,000. So you're paying a couple of grand for the hybrid with all-wheel drive and $4 grand for fully loaded. So pretty neat little car if you're someone looking for a compact crossover hybrid. And I don't know.
And if you really, really need to have that Lexus badge.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure, and I think in other countries you can already get a CHR hybrid with a Toyota badge on it. And, it's nice to see they're leveraging their all-wheel drive, their all-wheel drive system. If you look in the picture here of the chassis, there's no drive shaft from the front of the car to the back of the car. It's an electric rear end. They don't really highlight that very well in the pictures. But anyway, it's a neat little Lexus, and it's nice to see a compact SUV hybrid out there.
That's all-wheel drive too, right?
It's all-wheel drive. And like I said, it shares the chassis with the CHR and the Corolla hatchback, so I'm sure we'll see hybrid all-wheel drive derivatives of those cars in the not-too-distant future.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
So this
Take your Subaru and
yeah, exactly. Screw you, Subaru. This is a cooler car.
Well, I mean, Subarus aren't cheap either. That's the thing. I mean, they certainly
you can easily spend 30 grand on a Subaru.
Easily spend 30 grand on a Subaru. So then you're suddenly looking at like, wow, do I want? It's kind of a different group.
And let's see, where's the mileage on this?
39 combined.
Yeah, so that's pretty decent.
So this reminds me of the CT 200H that we drove from Chicago to LA and back in. And our review was that it was quiet.
Yeah, the CT 200H was a neat little car. It was tiny.
Yeah, it was very tiny.
It was very small.
And it was only front-wheel drive, and it didn't have that SUV form factor that people seem to want. So,
and in my opinion, it kind of suffered from identity crisis. I saw 3 or 4 different commercials for the CT 200H, and it was appealing to different people. It was almost like Lexus didn't really know how they wanted to market the car.
Yeah, it was like for sporty millennials or luxury cheapskates. I don't know. I couldn't really figure out where to fit.
I want to buy a Lexus. I just don't want a nice one.
Or buy a lot of gas.
Said no one ever,
Well, and I recently had a customer. She was an elderly Asian lady, retired, and she bought the CT200 F Sport.
Oh,
And I said, I don't think Lexus was looking at your demographic when they made this car, but she said, I like it. So
yeah,
there you go.
Because she said all the other Lexuses were too big. She wanted a small car.
Right.
It's a nice car as long as you didn't like the F Sport was really mislabeled because it was easily the slowest, wimpiest F Sport in the
But it looked cool and it had some
cool wheels.
Yeah, it had like they put like the F Sport grill in it, and it had
the F Sport brake pedal and stuff on it.
Right, and
a brake pedal.
Yeah, and I think the mood lighting and the inside and the
black
seats.
Roof.
The seats were so uncomfortably hard. I mean, I just hated that car. But the regular version I felt it was okay.
Well, and what's a neat thing in the resale market is the CT200H regular one sells for not that much more than a Gen 3 Prius of comparable year and mileage, and it's a lot nicer car on the inside. So if you can live with the little less cargo room, and you're looking for a used Prius, look for a CT200H.
Yeah, it's a spiffy little car, and again,
not that much more, and you get heated leather seats and sunroofs and Lexus-y,
Right.
Yeah.
I drove one from Pennsylvania to Montreal and back, and it was nice. It was okay. It wasn't the Lexus experience, the F Sport especially, the experience that I was looking for. I was kind of shocked there.
But I think this new one, there'll be a home for it. It's a decent car, good powertrain, so, and not too expensive for Lexus.
Yeah, I can't wait to go check it out. Yeah.
Well, speaking of something you didn't really expect, how about this? Look at this, Carmen Ghia. Now, if you're my age, and there's different ages represented on this panel, but you remember the Carmen Ghia as being the Volkswagen Bug stylish, but much less comfortable cousin.
Right.
Very cool, but no fun to drive. Gutless, loud, uncomfortable. But nonetheless, it looks cool. So here's someone who took this car is at the University of Brussels and used it, converted it over to an EV, and made it their master's thesis. And I love it because it's so very like authentically honed.
Did you do anything cool, like put a Tesla powertrain in it?
I don't think there's anything that cool about it. Oh, it might have. I'm trying to remember what the powertrain was.
The batteries appear to be Tesla batteries.
They are Tesla. Yeah, they were Tesla batteries. He broke them up into 2 packs, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right, because it's liquid cooled.
Well, it's got an AC motor, so that's good.
In the back, yeah.
I still like he's using a PC power supply for the fluid pump.
So there you go. I mean, it's a fun little car. Let me get to the part where there's the 12-volt battery, there's the charging cord, so this is the front.
Yep. So there's a Tesla battery too.
Yeah.
Right. There's the other half of the Tesla battery pack. The first half is underneath the back seat or behind the back seat. But I mean,
original from like the 85 or the 60.
You would know more than I would, Casey. I'm going to bow to your greater expertise there.
Well, they're definitely not from 100.
You know, and this car probably has a better heater than the original Carmen Ghia.
And
yes, powered heater.
Just one more moment. I just want you guys to see the inside. And again, the original, like, crappy seat.
Oh, my God. It's ripped. It's cracked.
Just awful. But, you know, he's
so is
not...
that leather or vinyl?
Oh, it was vinyl back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And it was shitty vinyl.
Bad, ugly, aggressively uncomfortable vinyl. Yeah. That's the other pack. But let's see. Let's go up to... There's the controls.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so there's the original Carmen Ghia radio. And
I was going to say, yeah, it's got the AM FM radio.
That is much better than a touchscreen.
Yes, who needs a touchscreen when you've got that?
And it's got a USB charging port.
Yeah,
2 of them.
I like the forward and reverse on the little switch.
Like handwritten.
Oh, you've turned the dial to go to reverse?
Yes. Yes.
Because all it does is it flips the electrons into positron in the positive. Yeah.
I love the big red stop button for emergency.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same style as the actual emergency switch on the other side of the dashboard.
Oh my God.
The only thing he didn't show is driving it, and I would love to drive it around the block, just to see what it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be fun, but and right, Paul, there's, as you mentioned, the heater. There's an electric heater that he added. Because which
probably works better than the Carmen Ghia gas heaters worked.
Wasn't it like a diesel heater or something? You had to fill up in the back.
That was an option. No, there wasn't. But the factory heater was like a heater box off the air-cooled engine that took ambient hot air and then blew it into the cabin. All those air-cooled Beetles and Carmen Ghia had really awful heat. So they had a separate gasoline-powered furnace that was mounted in the Frunk that could generate heat. By burning gas separately from the engine.
Right, because that's
in colder climates.
Because the engine couldn't generate enough heat.
Exactly. It was really piss poor.
Those 2 cylinders were working as hard as they could.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Let's go to maybe something a little more. Next story goes to Casey. I have no good segue. I'm sick.
Okay, so I've got some breaking news here. Today... Mr. Musk was tweeting again.
No.
So the return policy is now 7 days, regardless of whether you've taken a test drive or not. So it's good news this time, if you're in the market.
7 days, whether you've had a test drive or not.
Yeah, it used to be if you had a test drive, you had 1 day to return the car.
And that was just confusing.
Which is just weird too. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but.
Yeah. I find it hard to do anything in 1 day. Yeah. You must return a car.
There's that.
But so while we're talking about Elon, his new chairman is 100% behind him. It said he uses Twitter wisely.
Yes.
So what's her name? Robin
Denholm. Yeah.
Yes. She said that the members of the board have regular conversations with him. They're happy with his performance
through Twitter.
Twitter DMs. Slide into my DMs there.
So is she the official Twitter nanny?
No, the lawyer claims to be that.
A Twitter sitter.
Yeah. And so.
And didn't his new lawyer Michael Cohen?
His lawyer is the guys who were representing Enron.
Yeah,
their
actually a pretty high-powered firm.
Smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, and so according to this article, they interviewed her and she says that they're happy with him, so he'll get to keep doing awesome projects.
And that's why Robin Denholm is running the board.
Yeah.
Because she would never cross Elon. It's like Ellison. Come on. He brought in Ellison because Ellison loves Elon, and he's never going to tell Elon not to do what Elon wants to do.
Well, I'm sure if it was something really egregious and really stupid, and he asked them first, then they might say, "Hey, you want to think about that again?"
Why are you sure of that?
Well, no,
I'm just because there's been no evidence of any guidance from the board.
Well, what I'm saying is, if he brings something to them first,
right,
and it's really stupid,
he won't do.
Yeah. So there's a lot of if thens on that.
Yeah, fair enough.
You'll never get to the end of that if then statement.
Right. and then even then it won't say no. They'll say, Elon, you want to do some more homework on that and come back to us?
Yeah.
And he'll put it out anyway, slightly tweaked.
See, and that's kind of the hardest argument to argue. Yeah. For if someone said, okay, name one situation in which you've told Elon not to tweet something, they could list,
every day.
They could say, well, it happens every day. And then someone would say, well, give us an example. They could make something up because if he never tweeted it, there's nothing to prove them otherwise.
And if he did it verbally rather than
exactly.
If digital.
If they say he typed it up, showed it to me on the phone, and I said, no, you better not send that. We have nothing to go on other than their word.
All we have to have is proof they were in the same building at the same time, or that there was a phone call.
It was something, but there wouldn't be that. So, yeah, having to prove a negative basically is what it is.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if if they'll do some of that in the courtroom. Somehow they'll do it without being perfect.
That ought to be fun.
Yeah,
that ought to be just hilarious.
And you know that when it goes to trial, Elon will be live tweeting the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hate this judge. My lawyers are all wimps.
Yeah, this is a train wreck, guys. That's about to happen.
I told you I was exonerated.
Yeah, exactly.
Exoneration confirmed.
Well, while I'm already here talking about Elon and Twitter, there was a Ram truck fan that said that his truck would tow 12,000 pounds of iron for job sites, and Elon tweeted back, "What are you making, puny kids' toys?"
Nice.
He's referring to the pickup truck he's got coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Which no one has seen.
Yeah.
We've
Which
seen a piece of it, or a piece of the key. Or, we don't know.
It's cyberpunk or
we saw some
cyberpunk or
cyberpunk
something.
Yeah.
We showed the only photo that Tesla has released last week, and so much for that.
And we have no idea what it's of.
Yeah. Well, I want to show you another picture. I've been showing lots of pictures. This comes from Facebook and from an EV group that I participate in here. Look at that. That is a smoking BMW i8 that apparently was just
at a mini dealership,
but just beginning to catch fire in Germany. The mechanics pulled it out of the garage, but check out what the fire department did. Yeah, they craned it and dumped it into this container with water and foam. Yeah, baby. That is one way to put that fire out. And honestly,
so does the fire department drive around with a big vat?
Right.
No, but I don't know. Maybe they do, but I'm going to guess at some point in Germany, they're probably going to make every shop that works on EVs get one of these tanks.
Yeah, I don't
know.
As quickly as a lithium car, I mean, we've all seen the videos of these things just going ballistic at like nothing. But you need the crane, you need the tank,
Yeah.
you need to
have
get the
the tank
car
filled.
to you need to get the car to the crane, which is next to the filled tank. I mean, there's a lot of logistics going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the car is exploding in your face, I don't know
Yeah.
how they could do that.
It's a pretty energetic fire.
That said,
Well, maybe the crane has a summons mode that it just goes and finds the car and drops it in the tank.
a summons mode. I like
Extreme car washing.
get in the tank while patting it on the butt. You know, get in the tank. Get in the tank.
Yes.
So how long does it need to stay in the tank until they're sure that the temperatures have gone down enough that it's safe?
They leave it in there 24 hours.
Is that enough?
Till the water evaporates.
Right.
Then they fill it up again.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen Teslas that have caught fire. 12 hours later, they caught fire again, and they caught. You know what I mean? Like, this is a problem, and this is one way to address that problem.
But,
I'm not saying
realistically, it's not a. I mean, I always say there's dozens and dozens of gas cars that catch on fire every day in every country, and
They don't even make the
news. They don't have tanks to dunk them in. You know.
But their fuel will all dissipate once the tank is punctured, unlike the electric.
Eventually, a runaway lithium fire will put itself out when it runs out of fuel.
After a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Days.
I'm not trying to spread FUD here about electric vehicles and that this is an uncommon occurrence. But the other side of it is this isn't the same as a gas vehicle burning, and you have to deal with it differently. You can't, flood the thing with foam or something necessarily, because
gas fires, according to Hollywood, always go blow up the whole neighborhood.
Right.
So in the Tesla firefighter training, they tell you don't puncture the battery pack. Just keep soaking it with water to keep the temperature down, and then after you've soaked it, soak it some more.
Right.
So if they don't have a name for these tanks, I would like to recommend the name the Fukushima tank.
No, I got one. The Frunk tank.
A Frunk dunk. How's that?
Frunk tank.
Yes.
Frunk dunkers.
Frunk dunkers. All right, show title.
There we go.
Frunk dunkers.
Yep.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yep. Oh, I've got others. There's others.
Oh, I'm sure. Well,
It's true. If it's a runaway thermal event, it could go to China, through the bottom of the tank.
Melt right through the planet and go through. I like planning ahead. I like saying, we have this thing. How do we deal with it? What's the best way to deal with it? And it may or may not be having guys with hoses standing there.
I just can't imagine, even in Europe, being that many of those special tanks. It's almost like they put a tank behind this dealership and made this thermal event just to test their tank.
That could be what it is too.
Maybe.
I don't
maybe it was a training event.
That's not the story. I mean, the story, and I'll read it from Facebook, from the people that this apparently happened at. This morning, an electric car in the showroom started smoking due to quick acting from employees of the garage and the fire department. The car was driven outside because it's an electric car. Inventive acting was needed. The car was immersed in a tank filled with water because extinguishing it the normal way can be difficult with these cars. For the next 24 hours, the car will remain in the tank.
So...
And then they'll sell it next season's demo.
Yeah, no, man, that thing. I mean, anytime there's a fire in an electric car, it's totaled, right?
Yeah.
We had this discussion before the show.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. In internal combustion engine cars, we see them. They sit on the side of the road and they're burning, and but I don't expect electric cars to just spontaneously combust, on the side of the road. But Paul, you know that when a car is being worked on, there's the possibility of shorting something, or if someone's doing modifications, like happened at that one garage that we saw, that the guy was making what was like the Disney float thing with electric.
Yes.
And he removed all the thermal cooling or whatever and had a runaway event. In that kind of situation, I can see something like this happening.
Yeah. He was charging it with
if you're properly trained and know what you're doing, it's unlikely. Just like if you're a properly trained mechanic working on a gas car, it's not going to catch on flames, but it happens. I mean, there's repair shops burned down, cars fall off a lift because people do stupid things. So I mean, you can't take stupid out of the equation.
Right.
So, two things with this: the BMW 12-volt fires. Is this related to that? And have they solved it? That's not the second question.
Well, I'm not familiar with the BMW.
So
12 volt.
worldwide, especially in Asia, BMWs are just catching fire left and right. And it's something with a 12-volt system.
I thought it was just people who hate BMWs, which you know, internationally could be anyone.
Right. And then my second part is
black hoodies that go around.
my second part is why, you know, if like Russell said before the show, electric car fire is going to total the car. Why not just let them burn out like you do with gas cars? Keep it under control and just let it burn itself to pieces, and then you're done with it. You don't have to worry about it recombusting because it's done.
All right. And then just call the owner and say something bad just happened.
Hey, we got the dog out, and the kid wasn't in there. But we
the problem with that, of course,
I mean, there are some
is that the battery packs with a traditional soaking of a hose can reignite after a period of time.
Yeah.
If you were to take it and dunk it in a tank, it's not going to recombust. You'll be cooling it all the time. Yeah. But the traditional way, it just they are maybe not as well trained on an electric car, therefore they maybe don't soak it as much. But there's still that problem that a few hours later, as it's sitting there, it can combust again, and then they have to start over again.
Right, but I'm saying don't even cool it down. Just make sure nothing around it catches fire and let it go.
Yeah, but isn't that like highly explosive beside a plant or like a shop, whatever? You could be damaging people. You could be damaging property.
Okay.
The guy sit there with a hose and watch it for 24 hours.
No, I think what Casey is proposing actually does make sense. You take the same tank, you just don't fill it with water. You turn it over, and you just.
It's quicker to move it around.
Yeah, you just drop it right on top of the car. You let the car do its thing, and 48 hours later, you lift the tank and see what's left.
Bless you.
Sorry, this is what happens when you have a sick host. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like just putting a cup over a spider or something, Like, this car's burning. There's lava coming out from underneath the container. Who knows?
You just slap a sticker on it that says "Do not remove," and you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you'll see any U.S. fire departments getting an electric car dunk tank anytime.
Probably not. I still think it's a good idea, not this specific idea, but I think it's good to look at strategies for dealing with this. Someday there will be a lot of electric cars, and we need a strategy to deal with a lot of electric cars.
Yeah, right.
And they're different than gas cars. You can't necessarily do the same thing. That's all. It's not bad. And they burn a lot less frequently than gas cars. Thank God.
Yeah. I wonder when the next Hollywood movie with an electric car catching fire will
so it'll go into a pool and then everybody will get zapped.
Yeah,
but everybody will die.
I like that. Everybody will be zapped.
Yes.
Ay. Okay. Tony, heads up. Chat room.
Show titles. I've already got a long list. I actually have 8.
Give me the good ones.
So starting from the very beginning, one of the better ones, Russell is not legally responsible.
That's pretty much on every show.
Right. Japan's off.
that one, yeah.
Yeah, we had Rapgate, Bean and Cabbage Cabin Heater.
Ooh.
From the Carbon Gia. Oh. I know, right? See, it works on many levels.
Oh. I mean, I'm feeling that one, and I have a cold, and I can smell it. Jesus.
We have front dunkers and electric car dunk tanks.
Yep. Okay.
And BMW Extreme Car Wash.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't hear that one. I like that.
Okay. Yeah.
That one's from
BMW free courtesy car wash.
Yeah.
One time.
Hey, your i8's almost done. Check back tomorrow morning.
The last car wash your car will ever
imagine driving up and seeing your i8 being craned out of a tank full of water and foam. Like, holy shit. Let's do some shout outs to go home, gentlemen. I think you've all done a good job. I should actually ask, anybody have one more thing?
No.
I do.
Oh,
Tony Schaefer, take it away.
So, yeah, this is not a one more thing for this week or probably even next week, but this morning, what arrived in my driveway is the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. So I am going to do what I call the ride-along review, which is I drive the car to and from work for 5 days, record all my thoughts, and point things out. I push the buttons. I see what everything is. It's like taking a test drive, but you don't have to actually take a test drive. And then I'm also going to try and create a shorter version of the review. So that's this week. Next week, they're going to come and they're going to pick that up and they're going to replace it with the Hero Full EV. And I'm really looking forward to that car. But I can tell you, one day with the Outlander PHEV, I am not a Mitsubishi fan. I really like this car.
That's a nice car.
It's a good car. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed my time in that quite a bit.
And it ticks a bunch of the boxes. You know, it's SUV, it's plug-in hybrid, it's all-wheel drive, it's eligible for tax rebates. The build quality is pretty good.
Very good for Mitsubishi, right?
Excellent. I mean, I've been under the car, and it's very easy to do maintenance on it compared to some cars. So all they need is a dealer network now.
And I'm not saying that this is. I just one of the cool things I thought I like is you can actually charge the batteries using the gas engine. There's a mode switch that you can put it into charge mode. So if you're stuck somewhere driving and you want to just charge up, I mean, again, is it efficient? But it's still cool.
Also, it'll get you around the congestion charge in London.
Yeah.
Well, next time I'm driving in London, which is shit, never.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the number one selling plug-in hybrid in Europe, right?
Yeah. Also, that London style congestion charge could make its way over here, depending on your local municipality.
Yeah.
But only to London, Ontario. So you're still safe.
Oh, those Canadian innovators. How can you not know that? Let's do some shout outs to go home. I'm going to start with Mr. Casey Green.
All right. Well, first, I'm only seeing 6 thumbs up in the show. So
wait, that's 2.
I'd like to get some of our viewers to, if you don't mind, click on that thumbs up for me. And we're at 792 subscribers. If we could see that number go up as well and ring the bell, that'd be awesome.
Wait, we're at 792?
That's what it says.
We need 8 more.
It went up 2 in this hour, so that's awesome.
That is good.
We need 208 more, but I'm going to go there.
And then while I'm on it, what I would plug is my YouTube channel. I make videos like my Autopilot jail video today. If you could just click on my name and give it a look. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe over there too. I'd appreciate it. And I want to also thank everybody for coming in today.
Absolutely. That's youtube.com/Casey Green, K-A-C-E-Y Green.
That's me.
Do go to his channel and subscribe because Casey does all kinds of cool stuff and he's constantly putting up videos.
Absolutely.
Which has forced Tony and I to work so much harder than we had to work before. You bastard. Beautiful bastard. Mr. Coughlin.
Just shout out to everyone that's been watching in the live chat and prompting us and saying hello. We love you. Great for you to be there, and follow us on our Twitter feed, which would be What Drives Us. Coincidentally, everything is almost What Drives Us. So follow us on Facebook, follow us, of course, on YouTube. All What Drives Us. Easy to find, easy to click on.
Absolutely. Mr. Guzik.
I don't have a lot. I'll just say check out my website, boulderhc.com for service and repairs, and boulderh.com for our used car inventory. And our car inventory website is getting a refresh in the next week or two, and it will be much prettier. So
cool.
Don't judge it today.
Good, because I looked at it today, and it's a pit.
It's awful.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. Oh, I was staggered by that. Tony Schaefer, bring us home, my friend.
Shout out, of course, to everyone in the chat room. Thanks so much for spending an hour with us. It really means a lot to know that there are people who actually carve time out of their day to watch us do the thing that we enjoy doing. So Thank you to everyone. Shout out, of course, to Philip Barclay. If you use Flipboard as your news aggregator, Philip and I throw articles into the What Drives Us magazine on a regular basis. So check that out. Also, Danny Cooper, shout out. Danny keeps the whatdrives.us website up and running. And if you subscribe to the audio versions, that could be on Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn,
iTunes,
wherever
Spotify.
you catch your Spotify, wherever you catch your audio podcast, Danny's the one that keeps those up and running. So every time you listen to an audio version, give a quiet little shout out to Danny.
Yay, Danny Cooper! And if you don't shout out, he'll shut us down.
Yeah,
he's that way. He's a mean bastard. He's so mean.
He'll pull the plug.
But we have no choice. You're just like, yeah, he owns us. So
speaking of audio versions, it sounds great in your Tesla. If you happen to have the premium, or not sorry, the premium, if you happen to have the premium internet, give us a listen on TuneIn.
Yeah. Tune in your Tesla. Oh, also one more thing. Sorry, I do have one more thing. I did post a review. If you have a Gen 4 Prius or Prius Prime, which everyone knows, I have the Prius Prime. So a while back, I was given some stability bars from MEG. It was their PS1 stability bars, and they asked me to install it on my car and write a review or video review, and that's what I did. So today, I put the finishing touches and uploaded my review. Long story short, I really like them.
Cool. And it's MEG?
Yes, MEG is metallic enhancement gear.
Okay.
And are they like just bolt-on, easy peasy?
Oh my God, it's so easy peasy. So I took it to my local, the local like mom and pop, family-owned auto dealer, because there's a lot of places, Toyota won't put third-party parts. AAA, if you have an auto shop, won't put third-party parts. So I went to mom and pop shop that was just really close, and I go to them for regular stuff anyway. And they're like, yeah, sure, it's $80 an hour, but it only took a half an hour, right. And that was with me under the car with the guy.
Otherwise, it would have been 5 minutes.
Right. I think they charged me extra for that.
Well, don't they have a sign like in the shop that says, if you watch, it's rate
$20 more,
20% or additional, and if you ask questions, it's rate plus 50%, and if you want to help, it's rate plus 100%.
Exactly. That was exactly what it was. So I was doing more harm than good. But yeah, installing them is a piece of cake. You just unbolt the old ones, you bolt in the new ones exactly in the same place. And right out of the bat, regular driving, and then especially cornering. And I do a roundabout. I do a U-turn in a roundabout. And I'm basically just talking. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. The car's not going to slip and slide. It just... handling in my Prime is so much better with these stability bars.
Did it turn it into a drift machine for drifting?
I was an EV, and I think that's called the electric slide.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta shut this down, or it'll be like 7:45, and we'll still be, MEG PS1 stability bars. Check out Tony's review, and while you're there, I'm gonna implore you to look for the What Drives Us one-on-one episode that I posted this week with Patrick Connor and I. We spend an ungodly amount of time. Yes, at 1 hour and 45 minutes. If you want to deep dive into the state of the corporation for Tesla, this is it. Patrick and I kind of do point counterpoint based on an article he wrote in March of last year about Tesla moats, what made Tesla strong. And we review each one of the 17 moats, talk about it. It was a wonderful discussion. And I get that like 2 hours of your life is like, it's not Avengers Endgame. Okay. It's not. I wish it were, but it's also free. It's also probably an hour and 20 minutes shorter than Avengers Endgame. So,
and if you're driving across Wyoming, you can listen.
Oh, dude, you had to do Wyoming, Idaho, Montana,
Kansas,
Nebraska, North Dakota. Oh God, just lost everybody in North Dakota. Sorry, North Dakota. I love South Dakota though.
That's helping the cause.
Keep digging it all.
Yeah, there's 6 people in South Dakota.
Picked up 3 more listeners.
Yeah, almost made up for the 5 people.
And if you're driving across Saskatchewan, waiting for your supercharger to be installed, Plenty of time.
You're not driving, you're parked waiting.
Yeah. We got something for you to listen to. Tune in through your favorite podcatcher. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for the amazing theme music. I want to suggest that you can support this show, and we desperately need your support at patreon.com/whatdrivesaShow. That's patreon.com/whatdrivesaShow. There you can support our show for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month. Helps make a difference. We need your help. Please go there and support us. As Casey is always good about saying, do go to youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Click on the subscribe button. Click on the notifications bell. That, again, huge help. And that actually costs you not even $1 a month. Costs you nothing. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Casey Green, Tony Schaefer, and Mark Coughlin for putting up with my sick ass hoodie wearing, coughing and hacking in between the questions self today.
Go to bed.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm going to be unconscious in about 5 minutes. So thanks to all of you in the chat room. And of course, thanks to all of you out there who watch and or listen every week. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Play the music. Goodbye, folks. And yes, I'm wearing this because otherwise I'd be. This is not a style affectation. I don't look good. See you next week.